Hello and welcome back to the Football Parliament podcast, a one-stop destination for all your football debates, discussions, and opinions. Today, me and Tanish are here to analyze Germany's squad for Euro 2020. Obviously, we know Germany are placed in the group of death in Group F alongside the favorites or the second favorites for the tournament, France and Portugal. Tanish, how do you see this Germany squad?
I think that this is a squad which has a very strong midfield, a very strong attack, but the defense is what worries me because the formation that Lowe tries to use and likes to use is the 3-4-3 system. And what it does is if you don't have a proper central commanding defender, which I don't think Mats Hummels quite is, in a back three, it can often lead to problems. So I think their backline is weak, considering the fact the teams that they're playing in the group stages here. They're facing Portugal and they're facing France, and I think Hungary is the fourth team. So I like that squad. That is a very strong squad, but I'm a bit worried for them and how they'll do this season.
But before going forward, I'll just recall our viewers that we remember 2018 World Cup. Obviously, that was nothing less than a disaster for Germany. Then any other competition that came in, that the UEFA Nations League, if I'm not wrong, still they were not the squad to compete. The era we all saw in 2014 or before that, when Germany was a team to beat, that definitely wasn't the team that we saw in 2018 and onwards. But if I see this team, see in my predictions as well, I have mentioned that I see this team surprising many of people this year. I think Portugal, this team has the caliber to do better than Portugal. I'll just put in my reasons as well. Before that, I'll just recall all the players that we have. See, the goalkeeping position has never been a problem for Germany. Since Manuel Neuer has been playing or has been part of the Germany squad, he is the number one choice. He is benching one of the best keepers, according to me, that is Andre Ter Stegen from Barcelona, and also Bernd Leno and Kevin Trapp. They all four have the quality to start for any team. Moving on to defense, we have Ginter, Gosens, Gunther, Halstenberg, Mats Hummels, Klosterman, Koch, Rudiger, and Nicholas Sule. And attack and midfield is stacked as always. So, as you told about formation 3-4-3, I see this formation more as a 3-4-2-1, similar to what Chelsea were playing this year. And because I am very much very well versed about this formation, I will just say that this formation can work because no opposition team has still figured out how to open up defenses against this opposition. And if you talk about Chelsea related thing only, we have Antonio Rudiger, who is living the form of his life. He's having one of the best seasons, according to me. He had the best half season after the Tuchel's appointment, and he is still present as the left center back for Germany. Definitely, that guy has a lot to prove again, and he will make his mark. But the player I will mention here is Robin Gosens. Robin Gosens is a left wing back who is even deployed as a left back or left wing back, and that guy has a very good quality of bombarding forward. If you see him playing, you will see that that guy will always be in the opposition box, near the opposition box, making complete pressing or completing everything in defense and in attack. And when you have Rudiger to protect him, or Rudiger to succumb to his mistakes, anything in that form, I think Rudiger can do that job very well. Now you were talking about a central defensive center back. I will still say I will put in Nicolas Sule instead of Hummels there, because Sule is a very experienced defender who knows how to defend.
Yeah, okay. But when it comes to like defending and defending in Germany's sense will always be defending against a counter attack because as we all know how much they like to keep the ball, and as we all know how much they like to attack constantly. And I've seen Germany play not just in friendlies but even in the qualifiers as well. Uh, he found out about this formation quite recently, like 1.5 years. And what I don't like about this is they are often all over the place when it comes to a proper counter-attacking team. And when you look at maybe Kylian Mbappe, Antoine Griezmann, and etc., players like that running at your defense, I don't think they have a specialized CDM as well to actually try and break up that play. Yes, I know Joshua Kimmich is a fantastic center defensive midfielder, but I'm talking about mobility here. And I don't think Kimmich is as mobile as, say, an N'Golo Conte, which works so brilliantly well when it comes to counter pressing in the Chelsea side. But apart from that, I think the attack, we've got to focus on the strength as well. The goalkeeping unit is extremely strong. The attacking lineup is just unbelievable. I mean, Werner, we can say, is a bit off form. Kevin Volland, in my opinion, is a very good striker. Leroy Sané, Florian Neuhaus, Jamal Musiala, Thomas Müller, all of these are such good attackers. Also Kai Havertz. But maybe you're right, maybe they can surprise us and maybe Portugal might underperform. But I just don't see how they even get past the group stages because they have the toughest group and you only get 3 chances of making it out of the group. But let's see what happens.
As we spoke earlier as well, when we are talking about group of death, a game against Hungary is a must win for all the three teams. Because if you have to drop in the third position, you need at least 3 to 4 points to at least qualify for the next round. So according to me, I will still go for that Hungary game. They have with themselves a good goal difference is what they can make in there. And also talking about the Germany team, as we saw them playing against Latvia in the last game, they scored 7. And the biggest surprise for me, not the surprise, but the biggest positive for me was Havertz in form. When this guy is in form, you cannot just stop him. He was opening defenses like nothing. Obviously, he has the confidence after the Champions League goal, and he was playing so well and combining very well with Muller. Muller was just appreciating each and every move that Kai Havertz was making, and he also putting in goals that Muller, we all know, is putting in for, is known for. Since 2018, he scored his first goal for Germany this game, but definitely he has a lot in him that he can put in. And obviously, my favorite player from Germany is Kimmich. That guy is so versatile, can play as the right back, the right wing back, or even as the CDM. And I feel that if you have him in midfield, you have a area covered that you do not have to figure out much. And also, if you're talking about Portugal in the same group, I really don't feel Portugal has that team to open up a defense of back three, because obviously you have great players like Bruno Fernandes, Ronaldo, Jota, but did any of them score against a back three team for the respective clubs as well? I do not remember Bruno Fernandes being dominant against a back three team. So I really don't know if this team is that good. That Portugal is that good to open up Germany, and maybe Portugal versus Germany will be a very big decider, because one of these teams could go all the far to the semis or either to the finals as well.
Yeah, I think spot on. But we've got to remember here that Germany is such an experienced roster when it comes to European competitions, and such strength and depth when it comes to midfield and attack. If they get out of the group stages, which I think will be difficult, if they get out, I think I'm going to be making a bold prediction here. But they might just go all the way to the semi-finals if they make it out of the group stages. If they do that, anyone can have a chance. What do you think?
Definitely. See, in my predictions as well, I have uh, put them as the second favorites in the group of death. According to me, France is going as the runaway winners, according to me. But still, if Germany has to make it as the second team, then according to me, Germany is going all the way, because the fixtures then are very easy for them. Not so easy, but still they have a pretty easier fixture. They do not have to face England, that they will have to face if they come third in the league table. So I feel that they should go all the way. And according to me, it will be a France-Germany final or either a France-England final.
Yeah, okay, fair enough. Apart from that, what else would you like to say to conclude the video?
No, we'll just have a discussion on the formation. As you told, it will be a 3-4-3. Obviously, Manuel Neuer in goal. Then go ahead with the defense.
I think in the defense, he'll obviously start Antonio Rudiger because he likes Rudiger and he's apparently his favorite defender, which I was very encouraged to hear. Rudiger is obviously a starter. I think he'll give Niklas Süle a chance. Mats Hummels may feature, may not feature, because from what I've heard, Mats Hummels is not as highly rated by Joachim Löw. But I'm going with a Mats Hummels, Niklas Süle, and Antonio Rudiger defense. What do you think about the midfield?
According to me, I'll just put in the name of Ginter as well. That guy, I do not know if I'm pronouncing it right or not, but that guy is playing very well. I saw him against Latvia. He was covering up Kimmich so well, who was playing as the right wing back. He was everywhere, pressing high, getting in balls. Ginter is the name to look out. If obviously Low starts him over Hummels or Sule.
Okay, so what do you think
Moving on
about the
to
midfield?
see midfield. Obviously, as I said, left wing back will be Cousins for me. The right wing back. I see this is a problem here. Do I really want Kimmich to start as the right wing back, or do I want him to start as the midfielder? Because if he starts as a midfielder, he'll take a spot from either Cruz or Gundogan, and both of them are world class players. Both of them are informed players for their respective clubs as well. So for me, I will take him as the right wing back over Klosterman, and I will go with a duo of Cruz and Gundogan, who are very good midfielders according to me.
Yeah, and you forgot the left wing back position.
Gosens, Robin Gosens.
Oh yeah, that's spot on, nailed on. But I think we've got to remember that Cruz and Gundogan, in my opinion, won't really work in the midfield, because if they get, if the ball turns, if there is a turnover in possession, I think the German midfield might struggle because it's not very quick, in my opinion. Maybe we can see Goretzka being deployed as a central defensive midfielder or something crazy like that. But in my opinion, the midfield will be Goretzka, Kimmich obviously on the right wing back, then Gundogan, who is the informed man, obviously, and left wing back Robin Gosens. Now let's come down to the meatiest part of this
I think
very
this
very
could even
attacking
work
squad.
for with Cruz as the super sub. This could definitely work for them. He has the capability, he has the abilities, but he does not have the stamina to last. So I think he could have a very good impact of the bench for a 60th minute sub or a 70th minute sub. Definitely. Now, as you said, the most difficult part of choosing an attack that just includes three players, unfortunately. See, first of all, for me, Havertz has to start any game because he is the main man who could help you link. He is the number 10 role, not the complete number 9, not a complete number 10. He is the middleman between the two. He has that role that Tuchel also cannot define, that Frank Lampard was not able to define. He has a role who can take the game into the final third from the edge of the box. So according to me, Havertz has to start. Next, obviously, Nabry is the man in form for Germany. He has been scoring in like he has a streak of scoring goals. I don't even remember how good he is performing. And I think Thomas Muller is the guy to start. I do not see Leroy Sané or Werner or even Verland taking over them.
Yeah, I think we've got to remember that Serge Gnabry has not had a very good season in terms of his club level performances, but in the national level, I think he has done quite well. And we've got to remember that Werner is again just not in form. And yes, there will be rotation. Yes, there will be slight tinkering and changing, but I don't see Werner being a nailed on starter. He didn't even start against who is it, Latvia?
Latvia,
Yeah,
Latvia.
exactly. So Kevin Volland, I think, in my opinion, is a good option, but again, that will be a rotation option. Kai Havertz has to start. Serge Gnabry will start because he's very well recognized by Joachim Low. And also Thomas Muller. I mean, if Thomas Muller does not start like every game simply because of how durable he is, if he does not start every game, I think Germany are making a massive mistake because he is such a massive creative influence in that final third. And as we all know, every team likes to generally hit Germany on the counter attack. So if they are unable to break a low block down, I think Thomas Muller is the perfect player when it comes to breaking down a low block. So these three players, exactly as you mentioned, should be the nailed on starters.
Also, Thomas Muller is the leader for the team right now because obviously you have Cruz, you have Gundogan, you have Manuel Neuer, but a man who you consider as a legend when you are going in a big competition like this, that is Thomas Muller for them right now. The only man I remember from the 2014 teams, apart from the names I mentioned, who can lead a team, who has that voice in the dressing room to inspire a team to victory. So I think Muller, Havertz, and Nabry is the preferred choice, and then they can bring on Leroy Sané and Timo Werner. And according to me, football is a 90-minute game. If you want to win a game, you have to win it in the 90 minutes. So if you bring on Timo Werner and Sané in the 60th minute, the defense will just go shattered because they do not have the capability to deal with their speeds. We know Timo Werner is fast. We know Sané is so quick. And I would just before ending the conversation or the video, I'll just ask you to talk a few things about Jamal Musiala, the youngster.
Yeah, I
Will
mean,
he get a chance?
yeah, I think he should get a chance because that is why he has been selected. And I think everyone in this roster will get at least like one or two appearances in the
It is very
tournament because
difficult because they're in the group of death.
yes, we know that, but if they, I'm assuming like maybe if they surprise someone, surprise everyone, and get out of the group stages. But if they don't get out of the group stages, obviously there's like no chance of Jamal Musiala getting an appearance. But one thing we've got to mention about Musiala is that his rise over the past year has been so meteoric. I mean, he represented England at the under 21 level, changed nationality, immediately called up by Germany to first represent them in the friendlies and then in the qualifiers and then straight in the Euros. I mean, this was such a surprise selection. But this shows that how much Joachim Low is trying to change his laurels and principles that he rested previously on. Like that 2018 debacle in Russia was, he was very intent to not repeat it, and he's drifting away. Although this is going to be his last tournament as the DFB manager, but I was very impressed by the decision made by him, and I honestly really want to see Jamal Musiala start at least one game, at least against Hungary, maybe. But let's see, because I really like that player. He is a very creative presence, and in my opinion, he also has an eye for a goal. So let's see what happens. What do you think about it?
Definitely, I just am in awe of the player. Like since I saw him playing for Bayern Munich, that guy is something different. He is the one who can we really can see in the future coming up as a very big player, like the ones we mentioned, like Ansu Fati, Phil Foden, Mason Mount. I can categorize him in that category. Not it will be very early for him, but soon he could be in that category. I'll just end the conversation by just asking you one player to watch out from this team and the final position for this
One
team.
one player to watch out from. I think again, I don't know why, but I'm still gunning for Ilkay Gundogan to carry this German team. I still think he will be a massive presence in the attacking third. That depends purely on tactics, whether he's being deployed as an attacking midfielder or not. But I still think Ilkay Gundogan will be the man to watch.
And with the position, where are they finishing?
My God. I'm still sticking with third. I'm still 50-50 on whether they will be four of the best teams to actually make it out of the group stages or not. But I'm for now I'm just gonna say third in the group stages because I'm not so sure.
And one player I will look forward to is Nicolas Sule because of my Chelsea bias, you might say, because he has a very good link with Chelsea as of now. He is on a verge to Chelsea, so I will have a look on Nicolas Sule. But as I mentioned, do keep your eyes on Robin Gosens. This guy, him in your fantasy teams. He will score goals. He will provide assists, and I'm telling you, this guy is something special. And talking about position, I'll stick to my thing. They will get past the group as the second best team, not the third best team, and they are going all the way to the semis. I think that's the video. Thank you guys for listening up till here. You can hear us on Spotify as well, and peace.